Swipe up to watch the replay. Just wait for Vanessa to pop on here. Hi, Vanene. Hi!
Star.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I always look naked. I swear I'm wearing this in all of my lives, and I just look naked in all of them, and I keep doing it. Well.
Yeah, you can hear me good, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
Let me know if at any time it gets choppy, because my Wi-Fi was acting up earlier, and I'll just turn it off if it gets down to it.
Okay. Cool.
Well, we can just give it a couple minutes and see who pops on.
Sure.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
Workout.
That makes one of us. Here I am eating cheese, not working out. It's okay, I have a smoothie.
Nice. What's in the smoothie?
Well, I cheated today. I wanted to do a strawberry milkshake. I usually do like bananas and berries and yogurt, but I did strawberries with vanilla yogurt and like a little vanilla ice cream and almond milk.
Ooh.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I know.
Nice. Well, when it's 90 and humid.
I'm over, yeah, sweat stashing away.
It's ice cream, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
It is.
For sure.
Well, this is the longest I've ever been on with nobody popping on, so I'm wondering if we should just go for it.
Yeah.
The replay, so cool. Actually, I noticed like at least two other people that I see frequently were going live at the same time today too, so I don't know. The world just decided to all go live at once or something.
Yeah, right. Oops, sorry. Okay.
Oh yeah, I forget you can send it to people. I should do that, huh? Let me.
What do you do?
You hit the little send button at the bottom. Oh, wait, can you do it if you're not hosting it? Maybe not. Let me send to. Oh my gosh, I'm in way too many chats. I don't want to send it to the wrong one. Okay, I sent it to one. Okay. All right. I'm literally just sitting here sweating. Hello.
Hi.
So, for anyone who tunes in, this is my beautiful friend Vanessa Dunn, tuning in all the way from Hollywood, LA. Vanessa is goals, basically. That's how I can sum it up. She is a professional dancer. She's a yogi. She has done so much with her career. She's currently a, should I say, dance-inspired fitness instructor.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And she's just killing the game. So Vanessa and I met when we were both dancing in Las Vegas in the show Jubilee together. And the rest is history. I mean, I love this girl. So we're going to be talking about several things. We're going to be talking about nature and the importance of grounding yourself and getting out in it. But Vanessa hiked the PCT by herself. So that's Mexico to Canada, right?
Yes.
Yes. So we're going to be hearing about that. So I'm excited. What else would you like to tell the people about your history?
Yeah, I mean, well, some things will probably come up as we converse, but I mean, I think a good thing to just dive into is the PCT. I mean,
Yeah.
um, coming from my background, it was like it's a total shocker, you know, for people to like when I decided to do this, and you don't see too many like professional ballerinas wanting to hike for six
No, you
months.
don't.
So, you know, that was always like the first question, like, where the heck did this come from?
Yes.
And and then, you know, of course, like just what the whole experience was about. And, you know, you can imagine, I sometimes compare it to like running a marathon. You know, you never know what it's going to be like until you actually do it. So it's, I learned so much more than I ever thought I could. But you know, we're very, humans are very complex beings. So we all have a ton of different interests and um, pulls in different directions. So I'd always really been connected to nature. And I think that was one thing that I struggled with a lot as a dancer. You're always inside.
Yeah.
And as much as I love this stage, there's this kind of like looming just constraint that I always felt. But I love the stage. I love being in the studio. But I had this like strong pull to just kind of be in a more vast environment.
Yeah.
So I always had that attraction to nature, and growing up, my parents we would camp and stuff. So, my family does all that stuff. So it never really seemed that far fetched for me, but you really going in, diving in, and being out there for 6 months is really like an alternate reality.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, you know, it takes sometimes when we decide, okay, I'm going to unplug, I'm going to go on vacation or whatever you want to call it. You know, it takes a few days to kind of like let all those extraneous thoughts start to chill out, and you know, kind of start to get into your true self or that true nature, that like joy that's hidden down in there, sometimes bogged down by so much.
Yes, we're so conditioned to be busy all the time. The hustle and grind is like what's expected of us, or how people measure success in humanity, which is just bonkers and backwards.
Yeah,
I think.
But it's been, I mean, that's one of the blessings of this whole pandemic, is that we're having to find worth and purpose, not through our work, because a lot of us don't have any job to go to. And so the work becomes your own self. And that's really exciting.
Yeah.
I know we kind of touched on it before, but it is like this global awakening. And I just finished reading Eckhart Tolle's New Earth, and it was kind of such a great time to read it, because this is what's happening. Like, people are having to do something else with their life, because they can't just dedicate it solely anymore to making a paycheck.
Which is good. It's good because it really, like, I've seen a quote floating around that's perfect. It's like, if you had to describe yourself to someone, leaving out what you do for a living and your hobbies, who are you? And most people are like, you know, like, they can't do it.
No.
So it's time is such a blessing, because that's everyone's favorite excuse is, I don't have enough time. And it's like, if it's important enough, you will make enough time. So what you're really saying is, I'm choosing not to make you a priority or make this a priority. But make yourself a priority. Give yourself that downtime, because otherwise you blink and your life's over.
Seriously, it's so. I mean, we're all experiencing it like crazy this 2020. I mean, it's going to be August next month, like in 2 days. Like, what the heck?
I know. It's so crazy.
I mean,
it's so crazy.
Yeah, the time is just flying by. So being out there for so long, it just kept that idea just kept growing and compounding on itself, and just like I didn't have anything else to think about except what I was doing at the exact moment. And you know, that's what as far as like spiritual awakening and our spiritual well-being, it's all about living in the present moment.
Yes.
And when you're out in nature, it's hard to live in anything but the present moment. You just, I mean, for one, there would literally be no point, because I mean, it doesn't matter. It's so irrelevant. The only thing that's is the present moment. And it was just like all these light bulb things just kept going off every day. The synchronicity of life and how cyclical everything is. I mean, obviously we know the sun comes up, the sun goes down, the moon comes up, you know, it's like 365 days, we revolve around the sun, blah, 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 all these cyclical things that happen, but we've removed ourselves so much in society that it's amazing. We cut them off. Like it's such a strong pull, but our technology is just that much stronger. So like the stars, I mean, when I'm out there and I see the stars, it's like,
I know.
I mean, that shit is so mind-blowing.
And it really makes me remember and tap into the fact that, as well as all the spiritual work I've been doing, like we are so minuscule and our daily issues are so trivial. Like we are all here for such a big reason, and finding what your purpose is and living it is like everything. So you have to stop stressing or you're never going to find it. Like, get out in nature, because I feel like that's exactly like you were saying. And I was talking to you yesterday about, for me, the ocean is like my therapy. Like that makes me feel more grounded than anywhere else, being on the beach. And that's when I start thinking about life, like the bigger idea of life, and then my own journey in life. And so I think that everyone has that connection to nature, but especially if you grow up in a city, you don't have grass to run around in. It's like it gets taken from you at such a young age sometimes, and like it's so important to reconnect. But doing it for 6 months is a whole other animal.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but again, it's like, it's the intention. I mean, you know, I kind of threw myself into it, but you don't have to do something like that. Like, or anyone, it's really about the intention of how they want to live their life, because we can connect at any moment. We can connect to the greater mother, the, you know, whatever you want to call it. But it's when you literally, you know, go out into the mountains. I mean, you know, I didn't give myself any outs. Right. And sometimes I'm really good at sneaking and making excuses, and especially in my mind, like, wow, I'm really good at getting my way, you know, convincing myself that this is right over that or whatever.
Right, you know? Right.
So, but so what I needed, I needed a lot of clarity in my life. And so that's how I chose to find it. But it doesn't have to be so all or nothing, you know, just stepping outside and taking your shoes and your socks off and putting it in the sand or in the dirt. There's a lot of great meditations, but two that I think of, Sadhguru is a contemporary living guru, and he talks about just going out and looking at a tree for 5-10 minutes, and like that's literally it. You just taking it in. You can't help but start to connect to it. I mean, the trees, they look like our lungs. You know, the tree is giving us oxygen to breathe, and we're giving it carbon dioxide to breathe. It's like the circles are just they're everywhere. Right. Like the harmony in life is in everything. And that's when, like, you know, that magic comes out, and you start to see it and recognize it, and I think that's when life gets really exciting. But you shut it down and you close off, and you know, our society is very like egoic oriented, of course, and just me, and when you let it all go, that was something I used to have a lot of trouble with like set your intention and then let it go. Like, what the hell does that mean?
It's the most important step in manifestation, and it's the hardest one. It really is.
It's so confusing.
Yeah.
But that's because we're stuck in our intellectual minds, and we want to. It's like we want to know what it means before it's happened.
Yeah.
Or how it's going to come to us, and
Right.
that's one thing that nature makes so clear. It's like you have no idea how it's going to come. You have no idea how it's going to happen, but you just have to keep going, and you and it always works out.
Yeah.
Like
it always works out.
Always works out, and sometimes that's hard to hear when it's like you've had some trauma or something in your life happen, but you just keep going, and there's always the silver lining. There's always a different perspective you can look at. And
yes,
I mean, nature is very violent. Like, things are burning, things are killing each other. It's like there's massacres going on everywhere, like animal is eating the other, and but it all works. Like, and that's there's that beauty in the destruction and the chaos and all of it. So it's panning out, and
the circle of life.
For real. I mean, it is the quickest way, I think, along with breath work, can really put you into a different headspace, like, pretty quickly. But having fresh air and the sun hit your skin, and just connecting your senses to nature it's so available for everyone.
Yeah.
And change your life. It can change your life. Again, you have to have the right intention behind it.
Right.
So yeah.
I mean, and for anyone who has tuned in and didn't catch the beginning, we're talking about grounding and nature, and Vanessa hiked the PCT for 6 months. And so, I mean, there's just so many benefits to connecting to nature. We could talk about this for 400 hours, but what is, well, actually we talked about, do you want to share your story about how strange it was for you to get into a moving vehicle after being on your feet for so many hours a day, every day?
Yeah, right. So, well, I also got so used to, so I would walk anywhere, average between 20 and 30 miles a day. And that's like not walking on city blocks, that's walking up huge mountains.
Yeah.
And so everything was like, the goal was to be able to walk 3 miles an hour. That's kind of like how, I'd start my day, and I'm like, how far am I going to go? Where's the water? Where's the mountain peaks, all those things. And I would always have in the back of my mind, okay, if I can go 3 miles an hour, this is how far I can get. So that was like my average speed. That was how fast life went for me, 3 miles an hour. And
that's crazy.
On like a good, that was a good pace.
But that's amazing. I mean, it's amazing.
So if I walk 10 hours a day, then I have 30 miles.
Right.
And that's a lot of miles on your feet. And I would, I felt really accomplished with that.
Yeah.
But then you take it into a car, and to go 30 miles, I mean, you can do that in like 2 minutes, right? I mean, not minutes.
Well,
but,
no, 30 miles an hour. So like half an hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like, so at that slow pace, you get to observe everything. And even from the difference of driving in a car with the windows up or the windows down, you feel so much more connected.
Yeah.
But every single move my body would make, it was because of my own life force and energy and propulsion. Right. And connecting into the earth every single step. It was really transformative. I mean, I don't really know how else to describe it. It just rooted you back into what you come from. We all come from the earth.
Yeah.
Saying like we came out we didn't come into it, we came out of it, right? So
Right.
um, it was such like connecting. It was just so connecting. And so about I was probably 3 to 4 months in, and whenever I would need to go back into town to resupply, you would make your way down to the nearest, mountain road and get a hitchhike. And this was a particularly a long hitch that I had to get, and I was probably in the car for about 20 minutes or so. And I think we had gotten on like a freeway, and we were probably going like 60 miles an hour or 70. I felt like I was like in some spaceship. And literally, I was like, this is insane what we're doing. Like, life is just passing us by.
Yeah.
And try to speed everything up, because it's not about being where you are. It's about being where you're trying to go.
Somewhere else, yeah.
Yeah. And everything on trail was like that. Everything on trail was a microcosm of our bigger life. And, it's like we're still driving through the most magnificent scenery and mountains, and but it's like you're not paying attention. You're just rushing through it. And
right.
I really learned that that's how I've spent most of my life, like trying to get to the next thing. And therefore you don't get to enjoy where you are. And I have such like a profound memory of sitting in the back of that car, and it was like warp speed. And I was like, what the heck? I felt so alien. Like, and that was always very interesting coming from trail into town, because you feel like you're a different species. You really do.
So that was, you said, about 4 months. So 4 months of walking, and then all of a sudden you're in a machine. So
yeah, and I had been in cars before that I had hitched into town, but I think this was just a longer hitch. And we went really fast in the car, and it was just like, I mean, I was 34 when I did the hike, and most of those 34 years I spent in a car, but only after 4 months of not really being in a car, my body got like, I wasn't used to it. So it's amazing how quickly we adapt on both ends, right?
Yeah.
And we humans, we tend to be so afraid of change and things, but again, nature, all it does is change. All it does is just constantly change, and it's such a beautiful thing to witness, because we are nature, and it provides me with so much comfort.
Yeah.
I find that a lot of people actually think the exact opposite when I talk to people about me hiking out in the woods for 6 months. It's like they get scared, just the thought of it. And it literally brings the exact opposite feeling into my being. Like, it's so comforting and safe.
Well, and I think probably the people who would be immediately petrified by it, if I had to guess, it would be those who are used to their routines and their daily habits, and 9 to 5, and they get their weekends to play. And so the thought of having that sort of freedom and lack of structure is terrifying. When you like to have everything done a certain way, one of the first things I learned with my life coach is like, you have to let go of needing things to be a certain way, because they're going to happen. Yes. They're going to happen the way they're going to happen. And it's like, that's the letting go part. It comes back to that. It's like,
yes.
But I think if more people got out in nature, even on a smaller scale, especially city dwellers, they might start to understand that a little bit better. Do they maybe want to go out for 6 months? Probably not. But I mean, finding that connection and comfort is so easy. Again, like you said, if you set the intention. But I mean, I can understand how it would seem scary, just because that's a daunting amount of time, and to not have like what you feel are the essentials of like, your phone and like people who rely on pharmaceuticals, and you know, there's all kinds of scary shit for people based on their lifestyle. So
yes,
yeah,
yes. And I mean, animals are scary. Animals can be scary too.
yeah.
You know, I definitely understand it, and I definitely, I was for sure scared at times,
Yeah.
but again, it comes back to those expectations. It's like, well, if I'm stuck in a rainstorm and I'm at 14,000 feet, there really isn't shit I can do about it right now. It's like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the thing that's so freeing. It's like, well, I'm here and I just got to go with it because there's no other choice. And that's what just nature, I think, really shows you, is that it's just, it is, I'm just saying it is what it is, but like,
I know it's so cliche, but it's so true.
yeah, because the expectations is a huge, I think, problem or challenge everyone deals with.
Yeah.
And it gets us stuck, and it gets us kind of in our boxes.
Yeah.
You know, but nature knows all. Like, it really knows all. So, for people who maybe are a little apprehensive about going out in nature, I think, like we were discussing before, the ocean is one place where just hearing the sound of it, you know, I mean, putting your feet in the sand. I know a lot of people don't like dirt.
Oh my God, take your shoes off. It will change your life.
Yeah. But sand, I think people can vibe with sand more. So, but you gotta get off the phone.
Leave the phone at home. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, and that's, you know, you think about artists and creative people, like they go out in nature a lot of times, or they go off by themselves to open up those creative paths and to like connect more into their intuition and their imagination.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say, imagination, because if you think of kids, like my gut instinct is to think of kids running around outside in a field of grass or wherever. And like as a kid, I mean, I grew up in Maine, so obviously we have acres of land. So that's the childhood that everyone deserves, you know. Like I was just very lucky, but to have the option to be outside, I mean, especially in the summer, I never had shoes on. I was building fairy houses out of sticks and like shells I had collected from the beach, you know. It's like kids are so much more in tune with like what you can get and receive from connecting to nature. Even if you're building forts in the woods, you know, you're out, you're experiencing it, you know, the imagination is like coming at you full force, and it's so empowering. And then society takes over and you forget about it and you grow up and you get your job, but it doesn't have to be like that.
No. And yeah, children too, they're so good about being in the present moment. And I think that's again why they like to be outside. Those two things go together. Like if ever I'm really have a lot of anxiety or depression, I mean, just go outside, look at the stars, like feel the sun. I mean, like there's just nourishment around everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like deciding what kind of food you're going to eat. Are you going to nourish your body, or are you going to poison it? And nature, it can just mentally, physically, everything. It is so powerful. I mean, it is everything.
It is. And, you know, I think for some people it's like, maybe it seems like a crazy, overpowering, daunting type thing to even consider connecting to nature, because it's like, it's not an all or nothing thing. And I think people forget that with anything. It's like, you don't have to, you know, hike for 3 hours a day and, you know, grow your own garden and go to a vegan raw diet. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. It's great if that's your, you know, end goal, but like, there are steps and you have to do what you're comfortable with, and you don't want to like shock your body into anything, and you don't want to disrupt you know, your habits too much all at once, because then you're going to be like, fuck just happened, you know? So I think if you can like set the goal to even get outside for 15 minutes a day without electronics and just be, like literally just be and breathe in the moment, it will make such a difference in your life. And then maybe your mind will open up to other things like, oh yeah, I could have like a pot of herbs on my balcony, or oh, I could do that, you know, and like kind of just let it snowball and then see what you really want.
Because when we're stuck in our little boxes, right, our thoughts, they just, again, it's cyclical. So our thoughts just keep, it's the same thoughts again and again and again. And especially when we're trying to make a change or a personal growth, whatever, if we're stuck in our lives. But if you have any questions at all, you have to get out of your normal cycle.
Yes.
So you can create space for new thoughts and for some new cycle to arise.
Yes. And,
you know, patience is so key as well. It's not like you're going to go put your feet in some sand and you're going to figure it out. But you have to make space for it. And for years, you know, it's such a thing. It's like, I'm creating space for this. And I just thought it was one of those, like, sayings. And I couldn't really appreciate it. Yeah. But it's not like some far-fetched idea, like some ethereal space. No, it's literally time and space.
Yeah.
You have to break your day, you have to do something different, and you have to go and be okay with doing nothing.
Yeah.
And allowing for new pathways to enter, for new things to spark in your brain.
Yeah. And I think that is part of the problem for people, is the allowance of giving yourself the time to do nothing, because you're not actually doing nothing. You're connecting, and it's going to like inspire you and ground you and grow you, but you feel like you're doing nothing. So therefore you've been conditioned to believe that I'm sitting here out in nature, I'm not working on anything. Your brain's still going to go a mile a minute for the first few minutes, but you're actually doing yourself a huge favor. But you have to let go of feeling guilty for doing it, because it's almost like the most basic step in self-care is giving yourself a few minutes a day, whether it's morning rituals, getting out in nature, both at the same time, great, yoga practice, whatever the case may be. But like, you can't expect change if you keep doing the same thing every day. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that change always happens in our mind first.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, if anyone is thinking about trying to better themselves in any way, I mean, that's my just number one, like, recommendation, is just to get out there a few minutes a day. Even things like, you know, maybe you are in New York City and it's like, especially now, you can't go out. Everyone's in Central Park. You're not safe. You're comfortable. Even things like listening to ocean sounds or birds, like you know, turn on some just nature tunes, and it can spark new ideas.
Yeah, and I would say even to add to that practice, whether you're stuck inside and have to do it virtually, or you can actually get outside for a few minutes, is practice even 3 gratitudes. So like, you know, as you're connecting, as you're standing there, think about 3 things that you're grateful for, but don't just think it, like, you know, don't just be like, oh, I can put food on the table, my family is healthy, and I'm starting a new business. No, you have to be like, oh, I love my health, and oh my God, I'm so excited, I'm starting this new business, I'm so thankful, and like, shove that energy out there, because that feeling it is creating that high vibration to attract more of it, and then things really start to shift. Like, that's how the change happens, in addition to giving yourself the time to make these habits happen. But yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
And I naturally feel more inclined to do that when I'm standing in the ocean. You know what I mean? I'm just like, this is fucking incredible.
Yes.
Like, I am so small in this giant body of water. Like, what?
And it's just so healing. It's so therapeutic. It's like, you don't, you maybe intellectually don't understand why, but it doesn't matter because you know it in your heart.
In
It's
your
like,
gut, yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, for me in the mountains, it's like the flowers and the, oh my gosh, the wildflowers are just like mind blowing. And then the hummingbirds come, and then the bees come, and then it's just like, ah, everything is perfect. Like the deers, the bugs jump on the deer, and then the deer takes the bugs over, and then they transplant the more wildflowers somewhere else. And it's just like, this is too good to be true.
Right.
But it's not. It is true. And then you're like, holy shit, I'm part of this.
Yeah.
And I have to say, that is one of the biggest things I learned about my whole trek, was that I am not here for no reason.
Mm-mm.
Like, I am here for a purpose. Everything that is in existence for a very specific, purposeful reason.
Yes.
And just knowing that gave me so much passion to really take full advantage of my life.
Yeah.
I'm an extremely blessed, and like I've been afforded so much in my life, and I'm so grateful for everything I have. And sometimes there's this feeling that is like, it's not fair that I have so much and somebody else has so little.
Right.
But if you don't take advantage of what you have, that's the real like atrocity.
Right. Right.
So like every day, it's so important to live your life to the fullest, to the best. If not just for yourself, but for the greater good. Because the better you become, the better the world becomes. And that's like the whole collective consciousness. It's like,
it is.
So we can't wear that burden on our back, but we can help uplift. And it all starts with ourselves. And we're all worthy of being here, and we all deserve the best, the best, the best, the best, the best, the best. And
yes,
when you see the beauty that exists through the ocean waves or the stars in the sky, it's like, we are all of that. Yeah. And we deserve to have that. So, we just have to get out of our minds, because it's all in here.
It is. And I think a lot of it, sorry, it's blurry. A lot of it is healing too. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because it's like, maybe someone feels really guilty when I know people who have felt very guilty for allowing themselves time and space a little bit every day. Think about young moms. It's like, young moms are so hard on themselves. They think they're doing everything wrong. They're their own worst critic, and it's like, you're new at this and you're doing everything exactly the way that you should, because it is the most natural thing to bear a child, and figuring it out as you go is it, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so, but like, it comes back to the cheesiest metaphor of, you have to put your own oxygen mask on before helping others. So like, mom is going to show up 10 times stronger for baby if mom goes out for 10 minutes and gets peace, quiet, grounding, connecting to Mother Nature, and then comes back refreshed and like rejuvenated with another ounce of patience in her pocket, like for the baby. And so it's just not just for new moms. That was just an example, but healing whatever, healing whatever beliefs are also inside you that are subconscious that make you feel unworthy of having this time. Like, dig into that. And that's the work I do. We just clear that shit, but like, it could be generational stuff that's been passed down. It's like, goes back 6 generations of women feeling unworthy in your family. And that's something you're not going to be able to consciously just pull. That was just another example. But if you're having trouble allowing yourself this time, start to dig into the why, because you are worthy and you do deserve it, and you will be the best version of yourself, which is therefore the best thing for the world and the collective if you do this. So it's also intertwined.
Yeah, totally. One other thing that's very apparent with nature is that there's always a quiet time. There's, there's seasons, there's high tide, there's low tide. There's daytime, there's nighttime. It's like there's always a duality, and we as humans have to play into that. It's like there's time to recharge, there's time to go full force, but we have to play in that ebb and flow.
Yes.
And that is one thing that is not really accepted in society. It's like go all the time. Talk about moms again. It's like always going, never, and that goes against our nature. And
but
it's not the greatest good.
Yeah.
It's not.
But even to speak like the language that everyone can understand, like even your cell phone needs recharging. You know what I mean? Like even machines need a source of power, and they have to connect to the power source. And it's like the nature is our power source if you allow it to be. Yeah, hello, and it's right there and it's free. So go get yours today. Like it's wild.
Yes, absolutely. I know. I mean, and now pretty much nobody has an excuse. It's summer. It's like, we all have more time on our hands than maybe we've had in the past, and this is a great time if there's ever something that you thought about like deep in the back of your brain that was maybe another lifetime. It's like, we've all been handed a gift. If you're right now, it's like put some focus somewhere else. Just try something new, and step outside for a little bit and see what happens. Adventure, it's always, the unknown is really exciting.
It is. I mean, if you've watched Frozen 2, you know all about going into the unknown. I am telling you, I've never connected so hard to a cartoon character as Elsa in Frozen 2. This girl literally steps into her power. It's been inside of her all along. Like the messages and the spiritual synchronicities in that movie blew my mind. I was like, I am she. She is me. It was great. If you haven't watched Frozen 2, go watch it.
Disney knows.
Disney knows. Disney gets it.
They know. Yeah.
It's crazy. So one thing, do you want to share about? I forget what it's called. The thing when you're going to the mountain. Is it peaking? Is that what? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. False peaking is when you get to, you're in the valley or at the bottom of the mountain, you're looking up and you see the peak. Okay, I gotta walk up the peak, and you get up there, and then you realize there's a whole nother plane of existence up there, and this used to blow my mind. Like I just couldn't fathom how I'm looking at the mountain and there's a mountain peak, right? Like the mountain that every little kid draws, and like how there's nothing else up there. There's nothing else. There's a peak, and then you get up there and it's flat and it's sprawling, and there's meadows and there's trees and there's rivers and there's lakes, and it's like, how the hell didn't I see that when I was down there? And then there's a whole other mountain pass, and thousands of feet higher, and it's not like it's just another few hundred feet. Like it's thousands of feet higher, but you couldn't see it when you were down on the bottom. And again, just a microcosm of our life. It's like we think we see what's in front of us. We think, well, this is how it usually goes. This is what usually happens. And we start to plan out. We see our future before it even happens, basically. And that's what this like false peaking is. And there's so much more beyond the five senses. Like our little human eyes, they can only see so much. There's so much more out there than what they can see. And when you open up to that possibility, I mean, then you can tap into that limitless potential that Tony Robbins talks about, that Deepak Chopra talks about. It's so there. And for me, that seeing that phenomenon of false peaking is just such a slap in the face. It's like, holy shit, there is so much more.
What a great metaphor though, like right in front of your face.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, because it's so big. Like, we're talking, you know, I mean, this isn't like some little, like, oh, yeah, I kind of see that, how that flower has, you know, no, it's like this mountain is thousands of feet tall and you can't even see it. Like, what?
That's crazy.
The perception, because we're too, it's just like perception is nuts. And, like, we all see the world so differently. Every single person, we see the world how, you know, how we've grown up, whatever we allow into our kind of to factor in. But it's just, I want to keep like, that's something I'm definitely working on in my life, is to keep changing my perspective, because there's the limitlessness is just unbelievable. And I want to get to the point where the limitless is believable, you know?
Right.
It's like, because it is. So, yeah, it's, I tell you, when you're hiking up a mountain, you think you're at the top. False peaking sometimes is
a little bit of a letdown.
Oh my gosh. So you gotta
but I mean, it's so wild, and it kind of, it makes me think of what is the percentage of like how much like our conscious mind versus our subconscious? Isn't it like our conscious mind is only like 10% of, or something? Like, it's like the vast majority of our minds are subconscious, and that like that blows my mind, because it's like it's almost less and less. It's almost like we're born with that full 10% or whatever it is, and then slowly society and being conditioned by family, friends, jobs, whatever, we just bring it, squish it and squish it and squish it, and pretty much we turn into robots, you know? And it's like we have to expand back and then further open up all of that mind space that we have available, because, and that's what people who are spiritual seekers are doing. It's like, once you start down this path, it's like you're addicted to the growth of it, and in a good way, in a healthy way, like reaching those goals of false peaking, but you're doing it in a way where you are present and you are living in the now. And it's like very organic growth versus like plowing through to the end because you see something that you want. It's really enjoying the journey. And like, the minute people can figure out that it really is about the day-to-day and the here and now, it's like things move, things shift when you start giving gratitude and like opening and expanding and doing the work on the inside, the healing, the connecting to Mother Nature.
Start to realize how much energy is being wasted.
Yes.
Like, our brain is the most energy sucking part of our body.
Yeah.
And like, me personally, I waste so much energy thinking about things that don't matter.
Right.
And you know, but when you can live in the present, there's just, again, you take that out of the equation. So a lot of times, and this is a huge problem in our society, is people are so drained and they never have energy. But it's because they're like fighting themselves. You know, if you can live more in the present, you will have an abundance of energy.
Yeah.
Just
because like, you're literally choosing to put all your energy into what's in front of you, rather than going past the energy it takes to be in the present and thinking also about what you're supposed to be cooking for dinner tomorrow night, and then like what you did wrong at work yesterday. It's like that literally takes so much more energy. Yeah.
I mean, right. And again, look to nature. It never wastes a drop of energy on what is not completely necessary. Yeah. And every flower unfolds perfectly. Every tree, you know, grows perfectly. It's just, it's all there right in front of our face. So it's just shifting perspective. And nature will lead you to where you need to look. You know, it's not like, you just have to have a little bit of patience.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
So we only have 10 more minutes left before Instagram kicks us off. So were there any other, I can't remember what we talked about, were there any other defining moments of your time hiking the PCT that you wanted to share, or lessons, I guess?
Oh gosh, well, you know, one, again, the microcosms of just trail to the life journey.
Yeah.
You know, I walked from Mexico to Canada, so I walked northbound, and sometimes there's a portion like in Southern California area where the trail is literally you're walking west for like 60 or 70 miles. And it's like, why the hell am I walking west right now? It's like, I'm supposed to be walking to Canada, and I'm walking to the ocean. And, you know, and the trail does, sometimes you would be like walking on the trail, and I literally would feel like I would almost go into a circle, and then it would go in a different direction. And I would just like, what the hell am I doing on this trail? Like, am I walking in circles? And so my bigger point is that that's how life is sometimes, right? And
Yeah.
that's how it feels. You're like,
Yeah.
here before? What's going on? Why am I not getting anywhere?
But trust the path. Trust the path.
Trust the path.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, it might not make sense till a week later, a month later, a year later, 10 years later, but every single thing is a lesson, and every single thing is in front of us to show us what we need to hear.
Yeah.
And if you keep hearing the same lesson, it means you're not learning it.
Yep.
And like, you know, I mean, I have a few lessons. God, I think I get them, and then it's like I'm walking in a circle again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, really? I didn't get this one yet?
Ugh.
But so, you know, that was just nature is our reflection of ourselves.
Yes.
On a personal level and on a massive collective level. But it's you just live and let go. Live and let go.
Yeah. And everything, nature, but even the people who are also a part of nature, these people and the way that they act with us is also a reflection of ourselves. And that is hard to hear sometimes. That is so hard to take in and admit. Like, if you're dealing with someone who's really negative or who's just lazy or ignorant, you're like, why is this person pissing me off so much? It's because you got to dig in and figure out what parts of that is a trigger for you and why. And then it's, as you said, there's a lesson in every single thing. And like, yeah.
One of my favorite quotes, a Ram Dass quote is just everyone is the guru.
Yes. I love that.
Everyone is the guru. And it's just, it's so true. And when you start to look at life in that like magical kind of unknown creative way, everything starts to like bloom and flower.
You are free. Like, you are free. You do not have to do things the way society tells you, the way your family tells you, the way your friends did it. You know, if you want to end up exactly where those people ended up, take their route. But if you want to do what resonates with your soul, like, you have to take the time, get out in nature, listen to yourself, and figure out what that thing is so you can figure out what your purpose is. Because it is so much bigger than the human body that we're in. We're just infinite beings hanging out on Earth for a little while. Like, at the end of the day, that's all it is.
And so even if you do, like, if you're stuck in a shitty job, there's a quote, Alan Watts, and he talks about the bus driver and this New York City bus driver, and it's like, you can play the game like it's a game, or you can play it like it's the hardest, you know, work ever. It's like, it's up to you how you look at everything. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe you pick your job, but you have to find the play in it. You have to find the play. Like, if you're letting your boss affect you, you know, I mean, we've all been in really tough situations where it's like, I just, with my best intention, I can't
Yeah.
feel at ease in the situation. So, you know, learn your lesson and try and move on. But when you're in it, you gotta look for the lesson. You just gotta keep looking for the lesson.
Yeah.
And find the play. Find the play in everything you do, whether it's going to the grocery store, whether it's being stuck in traffic. You know, okay, you're stuck in traffic, put the windows down and like let the fresh air come in, whatever it is. But I like that idea because that's what kids do. They play.
Right. Yeah.
Adults don't play.
Right. But you know what? It's exactly what it is. It's like life is literally a game, and if we tap into that, like the capability of the imaginations that we had as kids, it's like, okay, we have like, you know, we're like these little Mario guys like hopping around in our day-to-day life, and it's like, okay, we got to get to what our purpose is, and that's way over there. But in the meantime, let's go breathe under this tree and let's go do this. And it's like, yeah, we're gonna go all over the chart. But you gotta, you know, if you get too depressed or angry or whatever, then you fall off the, you know, the trail and you gotta start over. But it's like, then you learned a lesson and then you won't do that next time. And it's totally, it's a game. That was the creative red.
So, and that, right, take it easy, let it go, and just, you know, see how this plays out. Like,
Right. No risk, no reward. I mean, it's truly the truth.
Yeah. It's really exciting. I mean, I always love talking to you. But there is just there's so much energy to tap into. And it's all in the mother. You know, the mother is the essence, is the creator of everything. And when you start to bring her out in your life, it's like you just, more becomes available to you. More will show itself to you. And that's what we all want. We all want to feel that energy, that tingle, that sensation, that joy. And it's in there, that bliss.
It's in there. Happiness comes from within.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up so it doesn't kick us off. But thank you so much, Vanessa. It was so good to have you here. And people will go back and watch this. Hopefully we've inspired some people to make themselves a priority and get out there and connect, even if it's just 10 minutes a day.
And if anybody ever has any questions, ever wants to, like, interested in hiking, whatever, you can always reach out to me.
Yes.
And yeah.
And what is your, I mean, I'm going to tag her and I'll repost this. So, but is it The Divine Dancer?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So that's her Instagram handle, but I will tag her as well if you want to give her a follow. And if you want some incredible home workouts.
Yes.
you can also find those there.
Yoga.
What?
Yoga, meditation, all the things, Pilates.
All the things. Oh, truly an inspiration. I need to burn some calories with you.
Please join me.
All right. I love you, darling. I will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.